Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Mine, the Missouri S&T Athletics Podcast. Today we are joined by head men's volleyball coach Ryan Thompson. And Coach, welcome. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, Luke. How are you?
Pretty good. Excited to talk some men's volleyball with you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting our brand out there.
Yeah, definitely. So let's just talk about the season a little bit. We can go back to even just your first season, 12-9, then 10-12, and then this past season, 11-14. But I think you would say that you and your program have kind of made improvements over the last 3 years, year by year, right?
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. Again, our record reflects, about 500, but
Yeah.
Every year we've competed against a really, really tough schedule.
Yeah.
This year we had, I believe, 8 ranked teams on our schedule. And so it kind of my thought on as we build our program is I'm willing to go against those top teams and we might not win, right? But if we don't see that competition, we don't know where we need to go,
right?
And what we need to do to get better. And I think we definitely showed that this year, having set points against some ranked teams and even taking a couple sets off.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about the start of your season. 6 straight ranked opponents to start the year. You went to a California trip, UC Santa Barbara, UC Irvine, Pepperdine, and then you went to Loyola Chicago and Lewis. Just talk to me about that trip and, long trips both ways and kind of the results you saw from your team.
Yeah, the beginning of the season, I thought we did a pretty good job, all things considered, knowing that we were playing some tough competition. And one of the things we talk about as coaches, January volleyball is a little bit different than April volleyball.
Yeah.
Everybody's still trying to figure it out, who they are, what they are. And I think that really showed, especially in our first match against Santa Barbara. They were ranked, I think, 13 or 14 at the time. And we were right there in that match the entire time. I think we had 4 or 5 different set points, throughout the match.
Yeah.
And there were times where we were the ones that were dictating play. And so I think that just was a really good way for us to start the season, showing that we really can compete against anybody. And then obviously the trip got really longer in there for 8 days. And I think that the Pepperdine match, I don't think truly reflects the scores of kind of the volleyball that we had in us those other 3 matches. And then, we took on a really good Loyola team, took on a really good Lewis team. That Loyola match, they've got a kid named Parker Van Buren who's he's been All-American, almost Player of the Year. And we really shut him down in that match. And so that was one of the positives that we really took away from that, something that not a lot of teams were able to do.
Yeah.
And then Lewis, I remember our middles were really successful in that match. And so finding different things in all of those different matches, I think were a really positive way for us to start the season, even though we weren't winning those matches.
Yeah.
We were able to gather a lot of really good data, a lot of really good information for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys stayed out on the road as well. You're supposed to have a home game in there that got canceled, but then you guys go to Quincy and play 3 teams up there. And results that you wanted 3 wins, only 1 set lost.
Yeah, losing 6 matches in a row and not having won a set in those matches, it can be taxing for sure.
Yeah.
But our guys kind of understood what we were going up against. I think after those 6 matches, we were number 2 in the country in strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Right? And so we knew going into Quincy that was going to be a good opportunity for us to get some wins. And, getting that first one against Quincy was huge because, that was kind of the second time we had beaten them in a row. And then it's, in their gym. And then beating Emmanuel and Roosevelt to go 3-0 on that weekend was a really good positive boost for us. Showed that the hard work that we were putting in up until that point finally did pay off.
Yeah,
and get us a couple wins.
So looking ahead, I mean, you guys came home finally, I guess I should say, in the first week of February. Played a really good Park team and lost that game, but then bounced back the next couple days against Central State. Just talk to me about that weekend at home.
Yeah, we always like to be at home as much as we can. We've been typically pretty successful at home. Park is a team that we've played, every year the last 3 years, and every match is the same. It's always back and forth. 2 or 3 points is going to decide it, and just on that day, just unfortunately, it didn't fall our way.
Yeah.
But again, it's the work that we had put in up to that point. Kind of was reflected in that match, and then turning around and beating Central State. Who had taken Maryville to 5 the night before, and so they're kind of a team you don't really know. They were super athletic and on any day, but I think our guys did a pretty good job of being focused and really put a good beat down on them.
Yeah, then you guys go to Lemoyne Owen. You get a really good win against them, a dominating win. Then you played Maryville for the first time this season, one of 3 times that we'll talk about. Yeah. Kind of tell me what you saw from them in that weekend.
Yeah, Maryville is similar to Park. They're a relatively new program as well, and every time we play them, we expect it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a bloodbath. We match up well against them, and they match up well against us.
Yeah.
And so, on that day, again, it was just, unfortunately we weren't good enough. But we were able to take a lot of good information from that match and kind of what do we need to do to get better, kind of as the season went on. And, we went on a little bit of a tear after that.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Kentucky State and Thomas More, both on the road getting wins. McKendree, a really good team. They were ranked 11th at the time. You took a set off them. And then Thomas More, you got a win as well. Kind of talk to me about that stretch in that 3-4.
Yeah, that Thomas More, Kentucky State road trip was a pretty long one in a short amount of time. And so our boys, did a good job of being focused, especially in that Thomas More match. Again, they're a tricky opponent, right? They've got a lot of kids that can do a lot of different things and play a lot of different positions. And I think our block was really good that day. If I remember, we had quite a few blocks that day. And so, it was just, good to be successful on a really long, I think it was like 7 or 8 hours on the bus each way, right? And that's never really easy on you. And then to come back a couple days later and play Thomas More again at home with not much rest, again, was really, really good for us. And then, right into McKendree on the weekend, who at that time I think they had won like 9 or 10 matches in a row.
Yeah.
They just kept climbing in the rankings. And we went in there and played some really darn good volleyball, taking that first set. And we had them on their heels even in that second set. And you can see, I don't think that was what they were expecting kind of from us. But then, those last couple sets, they kind of showed that they were, the number 11 team in the country.
Right, yeah.
But, it was super proud of our guys, the way that they fought in that match, especially like we had never played well in that gym before.
Yeah.
And so to get that, I think, was a big confidence boost for our guys kind of, going towards the end of the season.
Yeah, and that was a stretch that you guys had won 5 of your 7 matches. And then looking towards the end of the year, maybe not what you wanted, but a 3-match losing streak at the end of the year. Just kind of talk to me about that going into the IVA tournament. Yeah,
again, we played McKendree again at home. And, again, the same thing, like we started off really strong and won the first set. And then the second set, again, was, back and forth. They ended up, kind of squeaking it out. And then again, they took over those last couple of sets. And then going into Maryville, I think, was the next one.
Rockhurst. And then Maryville,
going into Rockhurst, a place we had never played before. And again, against a really good team who I think was pretty fired up because when we played them here, we kind of took it to them a little bit. And so they were pretty fired up. And then, being up 2-0 and then kind of letting that one get away, I think stung a little bit for us. I think kind of fueled our fire a little bit. And then, going into Maryville again, it's not an easy place to play as well. And again, it was one of those typical matches against Maryville, kind of back and forth that didn't really go our way. And then, kind of going into the IVA tournament, I think we liked our draw. Tusculum as our first match. We thought we knew we had a chance to win that one. Didn't start out really well. But I give all the credit to our guys. They stuck with it, and they didn't quit. They didn't believe. That's not how they wanted their season to end, and then to come back and win that 5th set, 15-5.
Yeah.
It was one of my prouder moments as a coach for sure.
Yeah, it was the first reverse sweep in your coaching history here at S&T, first in program history. That was also a game where, the top offensive player in the nation, Declan Wingo, had 32 kills, and you guys still squeak out the win.
Yeah, he's a very good volleyball player.
Yeah.
No matter what we did, we knew he was going to get the ball. We still couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
And so we got to the point where it's like, okay, he's going to do what he's going to do, and we just got to make sure we maintain and manage everybody else. And our guys, they really stepped up the challenge and did that.
Yeah, definitely. And then you guys played Maryville the next day at their place, too. It was the 7th time playing Maryville in your 3 years in program history, and the 3rd time this season. You guys lose in 5 sets after you win the first 2 sets. Just walk me through that match and how that went for you guys.
Like I said, every time we play them, it's a battle.
Yeah.
And we knew both of our seasons were on the line in that one. And I think margins are so thin once you get to that level, and I think that showed in all of the sets. Yeah, I mean, just really, really tough because, in that third set, we were 2 points away from winning 3-0.
Yeah.
And then to have to come back and really fight in the fourth, really fight in the fifth. And so, all the credit to Maryville, right? They were the ones that were tougher in the end.
Yeah.
But, my guys didn't quit, right? They didn't go away. They fought until the very end and, proud to finish third.
Yeah.
Right, but we wish we would have had the chance to play in that championship.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about some of your standouts this season. Nate Meyer, he led you on the offensive front, 3.21 kills per set, 270 kills, the All-IVA first team. What did he give you in his junior season?
Yeah, Nate, he's been our leading point scorer each of the first 3 seasons.
Yeah.
It's been nice. We've been a little bit more balanced, kind of as a program has gone, but he still has found ways to step up and be our guy when we need him to be our guy.
Yeah.
Not only from offensive, but like he's really good as a server. He's really good as a passer. He's really good as a defender. And so he finds ways to contribute all throughout the court. He's also been our captain for the last 3 years, and so he does a good job of providing leadership off the court as well. But yeah, he does everything really well.
Yeah, and then his mate on the other side, Aaron Saladay, 3.13 kills a set. He had 257. They just complement each other so well, right?
Yeah, it's great when you have somebody that can produce on the left and somebody that can produce on the right. Aaron is a kid who, again, he's started for 3 years. He's gotten better every year. He showed this last year that he has the ability to just completely take over and dominate a match when he wants to. He showed that at the beginning of the season in California, and then he showed that in those last couple of matches against Tusculum and against Maryville, right? He's just a big physical kid. He's good in the front row. He's a really good blocker. His serve has really improved from his freshman year as well. And then even defensively, the guys might not think so, but from where he was as a freshman to where he is as a junior now as a defender is immensely different.
Yeah, definitely. And then we'll go to Tyler Johnwick, the All-IVA second-team player. He had the 4th best hitting percentage in the NCAA this year. He was lethal at the service, or at the net, I should say, for your team, a .448 hitting percentage. What did you see from him in his junior year?
Sophomore year,
yeah. Excuse me.
He's a kid, Tyler, who works really, really hard in every aspect, right? In the weight room, on the volleyball court, always asking for more reps. I think his physicality was one of the biggest things that really helped him move to that next level this year. But yeah, I mean, we were able to find ways to get our middles involved a lot more than we have in the past. And he's just a big physical presence up there. To be number 4 in the country in hitting percentage is pretty remarkable. And to have the numbers like almost 2 kills a set. Yeah. And almost 1 block per set as well. He does it on both sides.
Yeah, and then defensively, Bartek Kimailevsky, he was 12th best in the NCAA in digs per set this year. Talk to me about his presence on the back row for you.
Yeah, Bartek he's really kind of in control of our back row. He's one of our better passers, but he really, really stepped up his defensive game this season. This is really kind of the first year we've gone to just one true libero. Last year we had 2 guys who were switching in and off, and I think that was a big part in the dig numbers going up. But he's also somebody that doesn't get aced, a whole lot. Yeah. And he really improved his defensive range. I'm excited to see, kind of where he goes going forward into his junior and into his senior year.
Yeah, and then your setter, Grant Edmonds, 688 assists this year, 8.6 assists per set. Jordan Orr played well behind him as well. Talk to me about your 2 setters that you're going in with next year.
I mean, I think they complement each other in different ways. Obviously, Jordan's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit more physical at the net. Grant's a little bit smaller, a little bit more athletic. Yeah. And they both were able to step into situations when we needed them to in different ways. There's a lot of times where we'd be closing games, and I'd put Jordan in to have a bigger block up in the front row. And there was a lot of times where it worked in our favor, where he was able to help us score, a few points. And same thing in that Tusculum match, right? He was able to go in and kind of help turn the tide.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he ended up getting injured halfway through, but then Grant was able to come in and do the good job and finish it off for us. They're different, but they complement each other really well.
Yeah. And then kind of talk to me about next year. You guys will be joining the Great Lakes Valley Conference this next year. Kind of talk to me about maybe the different competition you'll see. You'll see a lot of the same teams, but maybe with a different conference tournament, right?
Yeah. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of the same teams that we've played year over year. We'll have Rockhurst, Maryville, Quincy, Thomas More, and Roosevelt will be affiliate members. And then we'll have Southwest Baptist, and then also University of Jamestown.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be an affiliate as well. And so, again, it's a lot of the same teams that we played, a couple new teams. But I'm excited to finally be in a conference, which we haven't had before. So we'll have a set conference schedule, and then at the end of it, we'll have a 4-team conference tournament.
Yep.
And then hopefully in the next couple of years, that'll translate into an automatic qualifier to the national tournament. But, we've had the IVA to kind of play for, but, not to say that it's not real, but like to have a real chance for a conference championship.
Yeah.
Is going to be huge. And then it's not only that, like we'll be the same as every other sport on campus.
Right.
Right. We'll be able to get all the same GLVC awards that everybody does in terms of all conference, right? The academic ones. And so it's a lot larger than the volleyball piece of it. And so I'm excited for my guys to have the chance to be able to achieve all those things, just like all of their other student athletes.
Yeah, and especially in their senior years too. You've had these guys since their freshman year, and most of them are going to be seniors this next year. Kind of talk to me about that, and maybe what you're expecting from them.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that that first group is going to be seniors already.
Yeah.
I think back, I remember when a lot of them were on their first recruiting trips. It doesn't seem like it's that long ago, and just to think about them graduating again. Like I said, it's. When we were recruiting them, it was, are you going to be in a conference? When is that going to happen? And so to see it come to fruition like we had promised them, I think is really, really exciting. I know they're excited about it. And then, we've had that chance to go to some really cool places over the last 3 years, and we're hoping to be able to kind of do that again in the next season as well.
Yeah.
We've made growth every single year so far, and I think our best is yet to come next year.
Yeah, kind of talk to me about the expectations for next year. I already mentioned the guys, it's their last year for a lot of them, but kind of talk to me about what you and your guys are expecting for this next year.
Yeah, we didn't lose anybody.
Yeah.
So that's always the biggest thing, right? Who's going to leave, who's going to transfer, who's going to quit. So we didn't have any of that. And then we've got 5 freshmen coming in for next year who really excited about our recruiting class for next year. And so I think they're going to bring the level of our gym even higher. Than it's ever been before. And so, obviously the goal is to win conference championship, right? That's going to be goal number 1. We haven't had a winning record since our first season, right? So that's probably going to be goal number 2. And then it's just, we set a lot of records statistically this year, but I know there's still some ones that we didn't achieve. And so, we'll go back and meet at the beginning of the year and kind of look back at this year and look ahead to next year and kind of set, what we think we want to do or what we know we want to do. But yeah, I think winning a conference championship is very real. And so that's kind of, our hope.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys will have Maryville circled on the schedule as a game that you guys are looking forward to. Just talk to me about some of the competition you'll see, maybe, a little bit of a preview of the new competition as well.
Yeah, Maryville's going to be tough. Rockers, this was their first year. We went 1-1 with them this year.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be tough. Quincy's always tough. Southwest Baptist will be a brand new program, so kind of a crapshoot. You never know.
Yeah.
Thomas More, they always can be a battle. Roosevelt, I know, we've had some close matches with them as well. University of Jamestown, they're more of an established program, but I don't really know a whole lot about them.
Yeah.
And so it's, every weekend is going to kind of be a little bit of a learning experience for them, for us. Like, luckily, we don't start conference until, early March, and so we'll be able to get some good data on a lot of those teams. But, I would say, probably looking at the beginning of the season, I would say us, Rockhurst, Maryville, and Quincy will probably be, the top 4 in some capacity.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about maybe on the recruiting trail of it a little bit, Missouri obviously just adopted men's volleyball in the high school ranks, and you're from Chicago where it's huge up there.
Yeah.
Kind of talk to me how it might differ a little bit here recruiting in Missouri.
Yeah, I think now that it is an official sanctioned sport, I think a lot more high schools are adding it.
Yeah.
And so I think there's going to start to be more boys playing across the state of Missouri. In Illinois, I think just about every high school has it.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas I think Missouri is, between 50 and 75 possibly. I think there was more this year than there was last year for sure. And so excited to see how it continues to grow. I've had pretty good luck recruiting from the state of Missouri.
Yeah.
4 of my 5 guys next year are coming from the state of Missouri. And then also we've got a pretty good Chicago pipeline as well.
Yeah.
We'll have one more coming from there next year. I think there's really good volleyball in both areas. And then, we've got kids from Virginia. We've got kids from New York. We've got, kind of all over the place, California, Kansas. And so, but it's been really good for us to be able to tap into the state of Missouri.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Coach, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.